there's more and more of you all trickling in, but I'm so glad that you're joining us for this episode, our webinar of cracking the corporate code. Y'all, I gotta tell you, we have some great insight today. I know so many of you are wondering, how do we get into corporate sponsorships? How do we get corporate donations? Well, I promise you, we are going to learn all of that and so much more in today's session. Okay, I know y'all excited. I'm excited. Are y'all excited? If you're excited, let me know in the chat. Okay, make sure you talk back to me. Well, let's jump right into today's agenda. Okay, so obviously, we're going to do some welcome and introductions. We have some fun and exciting buttery announcements that we're going to go into. And then we're going to talk about corporate sponsorship and matching gifts and just exactly how y'all can crack the corporate code. We're going to dive into some live Q&A, and then we're going to end it with some exciting reminders. Let's talk about some housekeeping. You all know the drill, okay? Use the Q&A to ask questions, okay? Comment and use emojis in the chat. You know I love to talk with y'all. And also remember, when you're clicking and you're chatting, make sure that it's going to everyone and not hosts and panelists, okay? I sometimes get tripped up on that. So make sure you're chatting to everyone and not just the hosts and panelists when you're using that chat. Keep the chat kind and respectful. We are one Give Butter fam, okay? And then my colleague Holly will answer any questions that you have in the Q&A and in the chat. And if you're in the Facebook fam, you already know. I want to know, are you in? Let me know if you're in the chat. I want to see if you're in so we can continue this conversation when everything is over. Liz is in, Jessica's in, or who else is in? Don't miss out now. Let me know. Make sure you're chatting to everyone. Mark is in. Come on, somebody. Melissa's in. I love it. Well, as you all know, we are diving deep into our Facebook fam this year. So everything, if you want to keep the conversation going, make sure you are joined in. Who am I? If you haven't talked to me before, if you haven't seen me before, I am Floyd Jones. I am the community and partnerships lead here at Give Butter, and I absolutely love what I do because I get to talk to so many of you all the time, all across the country. I get to dive into your stories and hopefully play a small role in the future story that is unwritten so far. I've worked with small organizations all across the country, and I am hail from Detroit, Michigan. Right now, it's getting a little bit warmer. I'm originally from the DMV, so I'm a new Michigander, but I'm seeing that it's getting a little bit warmer over here, so I'm really excited about that. So let's talk about some announcements and fun updates. So I am not sure if you guys heard the news, but you can now have your migrating recurring donations coming onto the platform, okay? So we have a limited time offer that we are having. So 0 platform fee for life, okay? That is life, okay? Not just a quarter, not just a quick couple of months. As long as you have an account on GiveButter, if you move your recurring donors onto the platform before March 31st, there will be 0 platform fee. So make sure y'all take advantage of that, okay? You know we love free, okay? So what's better than free? I don't know. Donor Search integration. So we recently launched an amazing partnership with Donor Search. Now, you know we love donor data. We are all about segmentation. We're all about tracking the information. And now we have given you the ability to take that to the next level. We have just released a partnership with Donor Search where now you can actually see the capacity levels of your donors. You can see, hey, what have they donated to before? You can see the wealth and understanding and do some more further wealth screening. So if you haven't checked that out, when you get these slides, make sure you click on that link and see how you can integrate that starting now. And then introducing our brand new latest and greatest feature, Give Butter Elements. So Give Butter Elements is a new feature set that allows you to add donate buttons, donation forms, and even more directly to your website. This way, you can receive donations for any of your Give Butter campaigns without supporters ever leaving your organization's page, okay? We talk a lot about lessening the friction. We say, make the giving experience fun. Well, what is more fun than being able to just click once and make the donation all in one swoop? I can't think of anything else fun. So if you got something, make sure you let me know. But anyway, we are lessening that friction, and make sure you check out Give Butter Elements to learn a little bit more. Next week, we have the one and only Tori Meglio. She is leading a deep dive, okay? So if you want to learn more about how do you add Give Better elements to your website, how do you increase donor conversion, make sure you join in that deep dive. We're also going to be talking a lot about our integration features. So Zapier, Boomerang, and so much more, okay? So make sure you don't miss that. That is going to happen next week from 2 to 3 p.m. EST, okay? So that's a lot of announcements. I hope you're still tracking with me. But before we dive deep, I want to hear from you all, okay? You can let me know in the chat. As you know, I love to chat back with y'all, obviously. What is the current state of your corporate partnerships? Are they non-existent? Have you had some trouble with them? Are you guys thriving? Do you have a lot of corporate donors? Let me know in the chat. I'm actually going to see where we're at, okay? I want to hear, do you have many going on? Maybe you have one corporate donation that, that's been going on for a long time. Maybe you have many. Where are you guys at? Let's see. Let's see. Joe says a bit. I know that feeling. Don't worry, Joe. I get it. Jessica says it's very new. I totally make sense. Jessica Collier says currently none. Amanda says we have one major donor who is new to us as of last year. I totally get that. Well, my hope is that by the end of this session, even more. Okay, hold on. Let me see these. Trisha says pretty good. The anti-violence says received one from a corporate near our office who found us. Best said it's to communicate. Listen, we totally understand and we totally get it. Okay, corporate donations can be confusing, they can be complicated, they can be convoluted, but I promise you by the end of today's session, we are going to turn all the complications into a strategy for you to crack the corporate code. Okay, you know I love alliteration, so I'm going to give that to you today and more. Okay, so my goal is that you'll be able to push that bar a little bit further and some. So let's dive deep into 5 things you need to know to cultivate corporate sponsorships. Who's ready? If you're ready, let me know in the chat. Say I'm ready. Say I'm ready in the chat. I want to see it. I want to see it. Who's ready? Carlene is ready. I love it. Jessica's ready. Califia's ready. I love it. I love it. I love it. So let's dive deep. Oh, Morgan says she's ready with about 5 whys. Okay, I love that. Let's dive deep. So the first thing that I want you all to focus on is knowing your needs, okay? What does your organization actually need? So many organizations say, I want a corporate sponsor. I need to make sure I get these corporate donors, but why? They don't actually know the why behind the what. Okay, and that is something that is so incredibly essential. So whenever I work with organizations, before you ask for a single donation, from whether it be from a corporation or an individual, I want you to focus on what do you actually need to accomplish your mission. So if you're a sports organization, the last organization I worked with, we worked with a lot of youth sports. We actually sat down and broke down how many pieces of equipment do we actually need to make this happen. We need 500 soccer balls, we need 55 soccer goals, etc. And luckily, we were able to launch a corporate partnership with Nike, and they were able to fund and give us exactly what we needed. But if Nike knocked on my door, if they knocked on our door before we knew what we needed, and they said, how can we support you? If we gave them crickets, how would that have been effective? They would have just walked away and said, okay, great. There are many other organizations who are prepared and willing to, we can give this donation to. I don't want that to be you. I promise you, so many people have a need, and I promise you there is enough resources to meet that need, but you need to be able to claim and state and know what you need, so then that way when the donor comes, they can actually fulfill that need. All right. So make sure you're taking a moment to actually build out your plan, understand what you actually need, and identify the unique benefit to the partners that you're going to be providing. Right. So, for example, in that same use case that I was talking about with Nike, they wanted partners who are going to be able to help them with their bigger strategy. Okay, and making sure that our strategy and their strategy was in alignment. I always say this. If you know me, you know what I always say. Alignment determines your assignment. So making sure that you understand the things that you need to bring you in alignment, then you will find the right partners who will come alongside you to bring that alignment to life. Understood? Now let's talk about number 2, knowing your community. So this is really, really, really important because a lot of times we think, all right, we're just going to start doing some cold outreach to corporations. While that may provide fruitfulness for your organization, a lot of times it doesn't. And here is why. Because people, when you're working with an organization, you are working with a person, not a piggy bank. Okay, let me say that again. Your donors and your corporate partners are people, not piggy banks, okay? Which means you can't just go and shake until you get the quarter that you're looking for. No, you need to be able to talk to them. You need to be able to understand, who am I actually working with and building a relationship with. That is absolutely essential. And where better to start than your actual community? Okay, so if you see at the bottom of this page, we posted a little bit of a filter of the custom fields that you can actually add. One of the things that I used to always do, and one of the things I encourage organizations to do, when you're having a fundraiser or when you're even having an event and you're getting volunteers to sign up, add a custom field that says, where do you work? Right? Ask them where they work. So many people are wondering, who is in my network? Who can I tap into? But the beautiful thing is, you have the ability to ask, okay? When you ask, you'll be able to get the answers you're looking for, okay? So I always encourage people, where do your volunteers work? Where do your board members work? Okay, because a lot of the times the organizations that you're working with, they have corporate philanthropy arms, they have social responsibility arms, and so now you actually have people who are based and integrated with that company that you're trying to reach out to. Okay, so I always encourage you, know your community, know where the people in your community are coming from, and then soon that will help you build a bigger strategy and a bigger plan for your outreach. Okay, and then speaking of strategy, let's talk about point number 3, which is knowing your strategy and knowing your outreach. Okay, so let's dive a little bit deeper into this. When you are thinking about what I actually need, okay, so you think about it, okay, I need 100 soccer balls. We'll keep using that example. And then hey, which companies are in my network? Who in my community? What companies are represented within my community? Then you can actually start to see, hey, these people have a corporate philanthropy program. These people have a matching gift program. These people offer community grants. But then you might say, hey, that's great, but I feel like there might be more. That is when your strategy can actually begin. You can actually now draw a list of the companies within your community that are providing these kinds of grants, okay? Draw a list. I'll use an example. I used to work out of Baltimore, and in Baltimore, there were a bunch of big banks and a bunch of big corporations that made community outreach. So before I even reached out to any of them, I followed number 2, and I said, who in my community works for these companies? And when I realized that 3 out of the 5 big partners were represented, then I said, okay, great. Now I know I need to target these second 2. Okay, so you got to know who you have, and then you need to know who you need next to be able to fulfill that strategy that you set out. Okay, and then another thing that I want to talk about is, when you have your strategy, how are you actually going to do the outreach to these organizations? And that's something that's really, really important. So a few things that I would think about. 1, use numbers. Be incredibly tangible, okay? When you're doing outreach to an organization, remember, they have a mission as well, okay? The company that you're reaching out to, they have a mission, they have a goal, they know exactly what they need to do. And so I want you to be very clear and succinct when you're reaching out and saying, hey, this $10,000 that I'm asking your organization for is going to specifically help me fund 3 school programs. It's going to help me build 10 wells. It's going to help me eradicate. It's going to help me provide opportunities to, 10 marginalized communities. Be very tangible and specific, because the company wants to know, hey, is this specific investment that I'm making helping us as a company reach our larger and longer term goals? Okay. Remember, these are your partners and they are people. They are not a piggy bank. So you need to understand what the organization's needs are, so then you can actually build a strategy around that. And another thing, this is not part of my script, but I just have to say it because it's really important to me. Don't change your mission to fit a corporate donor, okay? This is not on the list, but I need to make sure that I say that. don't change your mission and your strategy to fit a corporate donor, okay? Make sure that whomever you're bringing on as a corporate partner is in alignment with what you are trying to do. Remember, alignment determines your assignment, okay? If you are in alignment and your partners that you're bringing forth are also in alignment, then you're going to be able to propel your impact and propel your purpose and your passion even further, okay? I hope y'all hear me on that. And then the last thing that I want to say is make sure you're understanding how are you going to stand out when you're crafting your strategy. Okay, a lot of these organizations and a lot of these granting organizations, they're getting hundreds of applications a day, right? Like they're getting so many people who are coming across their list and saying, I need money for this, I need money for that. How are you standing out? Maybe you're providing an on-hands opportunity for people to come on site and actually see the mission in action. One of our GiveButter users, she's amazing. She works with an organization called Green Arrow Collab, and her organization they build gardens at schools in urban cities. And so she was blessed to be able to partner with a big company. They're a media company. I won't say the name, but they're a big media company in LA, and they actually provided on-site opportunities for their employees to engage and build the gardens alongside the students that they were serving. So not only were they able to write a check, but they were actually able to see the check in action, okay? So make it tangible for them. I said this yesterday, I gave a talk yesterday, but something that stood out was passion plus action will get your donors to make a transaction, okay? Let me say that again. Your passion plus your action will get your donors to make an awesome transaction for your organization, okay? So the next thing that I want to say is this helping? I hope this is helping y'all. Let me see in the chat. Morgan says it's helping. Come on, y'all. Is this support? I hope y'all getting some good facts over here. So let's go to number 4. Know your systems, okay? Know the system that you're building out. So one of the things that I love about GiveButter is that we give you the ability to have unlimited notes in Track. Okay, so in Track, you can add unlimited notes, you can add unlimited tags. Why is this important? Because assuming your organization is growing, assuming you're more than a one-stop shop and there's more people in your organization, you want to know who is doing the outreach and who is doing the outreach when, okay? So for example, say your grants department made a corporate grant to the organization. You want to make sure that your marketing department also knows, hey, the grants department did that. Or if you're reaching out for a special event, you want to know, hey, the marketing team is doing a partnership. So I want to make sure that my ask is in alignment with what the marketing team did. So make sure you're utilizing systems and don't just save your notes in a random Google Doc. No, put them all in one consolidated location so then that way everyone is operating in sync. Okay. And also, create an outreach email template. I think that that's also really incredibly important. So it's okay if you're taking, a similar documentation and you're kind of repurposing it. I don't think you should reinvent the wheel, right? Don't make a brand new, thing for every single person that you reach out to. However, I would say have a basic email template that you're using for outreach and then craft it with specifics, okay? So one of the things that I always do, even at GiveButter today, I actually set Google alerts for every single partner that GiveButter works with. So then that way I know anytime something happens in the news, I'm like, oh, something happened with this company. Let me just reach out and say, great job, I'm super excited for you. Or if you're doing your first time outreach, you can say, hey, I recently saw that this took place for your company and I wanted to say congratulations and offer you an opportunity for further partnerships, okay? And then number 5, the last thing that I want to talk about is knowing your relationships. Okay, so knowing your relationships is incredibly, incredibly important. It's about people. At the end of the day, it is all about people. So I mentioned before, visit their website, visit their social media, pay attention to who the decision makers are and get to actually know them. And whenever possible, engage with them outside of your event or campaign. Don't just call them up when you need, funding. Don't just call them up when you want them to participate. Find out what other community outreach initiatives is that company a part of, and how can your organization be in alignment with them? How can you partner with them and And also, how can you just be a participant? When you know them outside, I mean, you know them just in the general community, then you can actually start building rapport that goes beyond the dollars. Because I promise you, the dollars will come and go. There will always be an ebb and flow, okay? But relationships last a long time. Relationships and a good quality relationship will go way beyond anything financial, okay? So make sure that you are staying engaged, make sure you're building quality relationships, and these things will definitely help you continue to cultivate your corporate sponsorships, okay? So, I'm about to turn it over to our great friend at Double the Donation, but I hope that this stuff was helpful. All right. So before we get involved, I want to talk about matching gifts. Okay, matching gifts are another huge part of cracking the corporate code, and to help me do that, I want to bring up the one and only Julia from Double the Donation. Julia.
Hey, Floyd, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
I'm so excited to have you. I think that all of this information that you're about to provide is going to be so critical and so crucial for our community. And I actually think that things like corporate sponsorships and matching gifts really go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that all the things that you have to say is just going to continue to add on top of that. Would you say so?
Oh, absolutely. I think they're definitely tied together in the realm of if you're going to dive into corporate philanthropy, you need to be thinking about both matching gifts and cultivating those corporate partnerships for sure.
100%. Well, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna have you take it away, Julia.
Perfect. Thanks so much. So, like Floyd said, my name is Julia. I am the partnerships manager here at Double the Donation. So that just means I get to work with our awesome fundraising platform partners like GiveButter to bring, matching gift resources and research to their clients. And so I'm based over here in Atlanta, Georgia. Double the Donation is actually located right on the Beltline. If you're familiar with the Atlanta area, we're right between Krog Street and Pont City Market, so a great area to be in. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here today and share some of these matching gift best practices with y'all. And so today, like we said, we're going to be talking a lot about matching gifts. And so there's really a huge opportunity when it comes to matching gifts, but I think that there's a lot of different roadblocks that nonprofits really get hung up on when it comes to the matching gift process that can be really easily alleviated. So I'm excited to dive into those today. So, for the agenda of this portion of the presentation, I'm going to first start with a bit of a matching gift industry review so that I can kind of share how the matching gift landscape can really play into your existing fundraising strategies, maybe maximize revenue in easy ways through that avenue. And then part of that overview, I'll cover matching gift best practices. I think that the industry review will give you a lot of the context you need to make those best practices really effective and kind of show the sort of roadblocks we're going to alleviate using those strategies. And then I'll quickly touch on the ways to automate the matching gift process with 360 Match Pro, which is Double the Donation's matching gift software. It integrates directly with the GiveButter platform. And then, of course, like Floyd was saying, we love to see your questions. So if you have any questions about any of the items I cover today, definitely put them in the chat and we'll be sure to get to them at the end. And so to kind of kick us off, I want to talk a little bit about the context of Double the Donation and GiveButter's relationship in case you're kind of curious why we've joined here together today to talk about breaking or cracking the corporate code. And so we've been partnered for a little while now. And through this relationship, Double the Donation offers matching gift resources and services to GiveButter clients. So I'm sure a ton of people on this presentation maybe already work with GiveButter and use their high converting, really impressive platform. And so through this partnership, you're just able to add matching gift automation to that list of offered functionality. So to summarize that, Double Donation is a third-party company. GiveButter is kind enough to have me as a guest on this webinar today, and we're able to provide matching gift information to fundraisers like you guys. And so getting into our matching gift industry review, I'm going to zoom out with a little bit and start with kind of the obvious question, which is what are matching gifts? It's, of course, a form of corporate philanthropy, like we were saying, in which corporations are able to match the contributions of their employees. And it seems like a really simple concept, right? If you've heard about it before, maybe you've heard about it alongside things like volunteer grants, like I have up here, employer grant stipends, other corporate philanthropy relationships. But matching gifts are the most common type of corporate philanthropy, and they have some nuances that can make them a little more complicated than they might seem at the surface level. And so, by that I mean that each of these companies create their own parameters and they lay out a structure for donors to follow to get their gifts matched. So that means that every single matching gift program has its own guidelines that donors and nonprofits need to follow to get their gifts matched, but that they're not going to be exactly the same for every single donor, every single corporation. And so I have some of these components listed on the screen here. And first, thinking about organization eligibility. So, by that, I mean that not all companies are going to match donations to all nonprofits. For example, maybe strictly political organizations, they're sometimes ineligible to receive corporate funds. Flip side of that, some corporations will actually match donations at a higher ratio, right, to nonprofits they have that relationship with. We just talked about the benefits of cultivating these corporate relationships. And one of them could definitely be getting a higher match rate through some specific matching gift program here. So there isn't necessarily this universal standard of eligibility that we see with matching gifts, but I will say the majority of nonprofits qualify for the majority of matching gift programs. And then number two, the next component here is matching gift ratio. And this one I really want to cover because it can sometimes get a little confusing. We usually think about matching gifts as this common like 1-to-1 ratio, right? Like you think if you give $50 gift, your company will give an additional $50 gift, but that's actually not always the case. So 1-to-1 is the most common ratio that we see here, but some companies will actually double or even triple an employee's donation. And so these match ratios can also vary depending on maybe the donor's employment status or even the kind of nonprofit receiving the funds, like what we just talked about for the organization eligibility section. And so the third item I have here is employee eligibility. And that's because some companies will only match gifts from full time employees, but that's actually becoming more and more rare as companies really ramp up their corporate philanthropy efforts. And so we'll see companies matching to part time employees' donations as well as full time and sometimes even retirees or spouses of employees. So when you're thinking about your matching gift strategy and thinking about ways to, access some kind of corporate sponsorship, some kind of matching gift request, don't forget about your donors who are maybe retired or only work part time, or like I said, maybe even are the spouses of an employee of one of these corporations. And then number four, we have gift amount. And so every program does set a maximum and minimum donation amount that they're willing to match. And these parameters actually vary very widely depending on the program, which can sometimes be frustrating because that means that like not all of your donations are going to qualify for matching gift requests based on the amount that the donor is choosing to give. I would say that the most common minimum we see is around $25, and then maximums typically ranging between 1,000 to 15,000, just depending on the size of the company. Important to note here, if you have some donors who work with companies with $15,000 matching gift maximums, you definitely want to be reaching out to those donors about their matching gift programs because that's a pretty major gift that you could potentially get doubled, or as we know, sometimes even tripled through the employer's matching gift program. And then number five, this one is really important. There's always some sort of expiration date for matching gift requests. Many companies will give their employees maybe a year after the donation to submit their request. Others might set specific dates, maybe around the end of a calendar year, tax season, something like that. And so as you think about matching gifts to your organization, don't forget that these programs are not all exactly the same. And so your donors are navigating really different parameters when they request a match. So as we get into the best practices later on, you'll hear me referencing these different components and why it's important to keep them in mind when we implement our matching gift strategy. And so that's exactly what I'm referring to. And so now on to some good news, and that is that matching gift opportunities are everywhere. We see well over half of Fortune 500 companies offering matching gift programs, and that of course means there's millions and millions of individuals that qualify to double, triple, sometimes even quadruple their donation. And of course, that's not even to mention all the companies that are not Fortune 500 that offer these programs. There's definitely tons of opportunity here. And it's really important to note that matching gifts are not industry specific. I think it's easy, kind of when we think about corporate philanthropy, we assume, we see these like outwardly advertising social good style organizations. We see certified B Corp organizations offering corporate philanthropy programs, which are great opportunities to capitalize on. But we still see these different companies that offer matching gifts, even if you don't necessarily associate their mission with being associated with some kind of nonprofit or cause or something like that. So I pulled, just several organizations that I thought were pretty recognizable that have great matching gift programs. And you can see this is very industry agnostic. We have food and beverage, technology companies, entertainment companies, tech companies, really all kinds of things here that offer matching gift programs. So a great opportunity for you to think about doubling donations. And despite the fact that this is this huge industry with ever improving programs, organizations still really miss out on employer matching gifts. And so by that, I mean they're missing out on billions and billions of dollars. We see $4 to $7 billion in matching gift revenue that goes completely unclaimed each year. And by that, I just mean that, donors are making these donations, right? We already know that. And we know that corporations offer matches. They're willing to give X number of dollars to whatever nonprofit that their employees are choosing. But yet, no one's tying these donations back to the offered funds that the corporation is willing to give. And so that means that most fundraisers see less than 2% of their individual contributions coming in from corporate matching gifts when it really could be up to like 10 to 15%, just depending on your donor base and the different organizations that your donors work for. So huge discrepancy here. And so now you're probably wondering, why? Where's this disconnect? Why on earth are donors not tying their donations back to their employer's matching gift program? And so to answer that question, I want to kind of go back to the different steps that a donor has to take to get their gift matched. And that is, of course, as you know, the donor has to make the initial gift to their nonprofit that they choose. The donor would then submit their matching gift request. The corporation would approve or deny that request based on the parameters we talked about earlier. And then the company gives a payment to your organization. Really simple. But step number 2 here, that's really where the problem lies. We see donors just not submitting their matching gift requests. And so donors aren't submitting their matching gift requests because they don't know about their matching gift program and they really need help navigating that process. We see close to 80% of match eligible donors who qualify for these matching gift programs completely unaware that they even have a program where they could get their gift matched. And so that, of course, means not only do they not know they have a program, they don't know the steps that they need to take. They don't know those minimums or maximums or program deadlines or things like that that they need to take into account when submitting their matching gift request. And so, because of that, only 7% of match eligible donors actually go on to submit a matching gift request, which is a pretty sad stat to read to know that all of these people qualify to double their donations, but they're just not aware that they have that opportunity. And so, the matching gift revenue gap that we see is really a donor awareness gap, that donors just have no idea that this is an option for them. And so, luckily, this idea that donors, maybe want to submit a matching gift request, but just don't know how, is exemplified through a lot of the research that we do at Double the Donation. So we see that not only are donors more likely to donate if they know their gift will be matched, they're more likely to respond to general fundraising appeals mentioning matching, and they're actually willing to donate even more money if they know that their gift is going to be matched. And I think when you think about it, this all makes a lot of sense, right? These are people who care about your mission. They've already taken the steps to give some of their own money to your organization, so why wouldn't they want to double their donation at no extra cost to them? And then something also really important to think about here. I have that last stat, right, of donors are willing to actually give a higher donation amount if they know their gift will be matched. This is really important when we think about those matching gift parameters. There's a lot of companies that have a minimum amount that they're willing to match. And if you have a donor and their employer will match a $25 gift and they've been making $20 gifts to your organization, isn't it crazy that if they knew about their matching gift program, they could give $5 more and then double that gift and make it a $50 contribution instead of just having that initial $20 gift? And so, while it stinks that most donors have no idea about their matching gift program, we do see that if we just educate donors about these opportunities, then they consistently show that they're going to take action. So, that was a lot of information about the matching gift industry, the landscape, kind of what the opportunity is here. So, now I want to dive into how we can capitalize on this fundraising avenue. And so we know, right, that organizations are missing out on matching gifts because their donors don't know about these programs. So our best practices are going to first focus on educating donors about matching gifts. We're going to find the opportunities we have. Where can we capitalize on this avenue? And how can we let donors know about this opportunity? Then empowering donors to actually submit those matching gift requests, right? So maybe we can give them the information, but we have to make sure they're motivated to take that next step. And then tracking your success anytime you implement any kind of new campaign, any kind of new initiative, then definitely want to make sure that you're keeping track of some of the metrics associated with that initiative. And so the first best practice I want to talk about involves capturing employer information. And this is really important for several reasons, some of which tie back to what Floyd was saying before about cultivating those different relationships, right? If you know where your donors work, that's a great starting point to kind of kick off the corporate philanthropy fundraising process. And then also, of course, knowing your donors' employers lets you know who qualifies for matching gift programs. And that then allows you to segment these donors based on opportunity. So, for example, if you have some donors that are self employed, they're probably not going to be as valuable for you to spend time educating them about matching gifts because they probably don't qualify for a matching gift program. But alternatively, if you have a group of donors that maybe work for one of the best programs that offer like a 3-to-1 match at a $10,000 maximum limit, you're going to want to know about that opportunity so that you can talk to them about it, right? That's really important for your organization to be aware of. And so none of that's possible in the first place if you don't know where your donors work. And then also, as a quick bonus tip when it comes to finding their employers, asking your donors where they work is a great way to engage with them in a valuable way that doesn't involve making a financial appeal. And that's, of course, a very meaningful strategy to engage with your donors. Have a question for them that doesn't necessarily involve asking for more funding. And so the way I recommend finding this information is by just entering a field on your donation form where you can ask your donors where they work. You can find out this information as they're filling out their information already. They're already in the giving mindset. They're more than likely willing to answer who their employer is by adding a field on the donation form. And the 360 Match Pro and GiveButter integration allows you to do that as well. And then next, I have this confirmation page section. So this section is really designed to give donors clear directions on submitting their matching gift requests. You probably already have some call to actions on your confirmation page, maybe something like share this on social, maybe something about, check your email for your receipt or for tax information, EIN number, things like that. And so why not include a matching gift call to action right on your confirmation page? It's a really natural place for your donors to find matching gift information, and it also ensures that they have this call to action in a really timely manner, right? So we talked about those parameters before. You know that matching gift programs typically have some sort of deadline. So it's a great idea to educate your donors as soon as possible about their matching gift opportunities. And the confirmation page is a great place to give them more information, not distract them or cause friction in the donation process, and still ensure that they have that timely submission of their matching gift request. And the next best practice I have involves sending matching gift emails. And so this is a great opportunity to maybe provide your donors with a bit more context than you'd be able to on the donation confirmation form. So you have probably limited real estate, right, on your donation confirmation page. And matching gift emails can be a great additional touch point for your donors to talk about employer matching gift requests. Something to note with the matching gift emails, you want to make sure that you provide a ton of context in these because, like I said, most of your donors have no idea what matching gifts are. And so if you just give kind of a vague appeal about, like, hey, you should see if your employer will match this donation, your donors might think that that's kind of an unusual request and not really want to do that and might not feel comfortable asking their employer for that information. But if you frame it as, hey, did you know many companies offer these programs? Over half of Fortune 500 companies have them in place. Have you ever thought about looking in your company policy handbook to see if your organization has a corporate philanthropy program? Something like that will give them a ton of context and allow them to understand just how to kick that process off. And 360 Match Pro also automates matching gift emails, just like the one I have on the screen here. So if you're interested in an automated tool to do that, then definitely can look into that. And then one more last thing with the matching gift emails, it's important to remember to send them after donations are made, right? To have those timely calls to action, but not immediately after. And so, reason for that distinction just being that if you guys send matching gift receipt emails or confirmations, as I'm sure you do, you never want donors to confuse those with your matching gift appeals because we know matching gift emails require a next step, they require action to be taken. And so most people are going to discard, maybe their proof of receipt or proof of purchase in a really, they're not expecting to take a next step there. So matching gift emails should come after a donation, but not immediately after. I recommend maybe 1 to 2 hours after the process. And then finally, final best practice here we have is creating a matching gift page. And so this is just a place on your website where you talk a little bit about matching gifts. You can maybe put it in your ways to give section on your page or wherever you feel is most natural where viewers would find it. And a couple reasons for this strategy. I think the first one being, all of the first ones I just mentioned talk about targeting existing donors, people who are currently in the giving process. A matching gift page ensures all of your website visitors know about matching gifts, not just current donors. And we know from the stats I shared earlier, right, that website visitors can sometimes turn into donors if they learn about matching gift funds. They can maybe even make higher base donations if they know about matching gift programs. So, definitely a great strategy to try to encourage more giving. This also ensures that donors or viewers have a trusted source of information. If maybe they heard about matching gifts somewhere, they kind of remember it during their onboarding process, but they don't really understand what exactly it is. You want them to associate matching gifts with your organization. You don't want them Googling matching gifts and finding some totally different website, maybe like a different page about corporate philanthropy, something like that, and getting distracted and kind of losing sight of how your mission can relate to matching gifts. So when you have a donor Googling something like, does XYZ nonprofit accept matching gift funds? You want them to feel really confident that, yes, this is something that they can do and it can impact your organization and, of course, make a difference to you guys. It's something that you appreciate. So that was a ton of information about different matching gift best practices, but still just a high level overview. And so if you're interested in, implementing these different best practices, but maybe you're thinking, when am I going to have time to do this? How am I going to be able to add this new strategy when I'm already really booked? The easiest way to implement these strategies is using automation software, and that's why 360 Match Pro does integrate directly with GiveButter. So going just really quickly into an overview of how it works. 360 Match Pro does work directly with GiveButter donation forms, and it allows a matching gift search field to be entered directly on your GiveButter page, where donors can enter the name of their employer. And 360 Match Pro actually scans a matching gift database of information when they enter the name of their employer to see if they qualify for a matching gift program. So it takes that step of research out of the process for you. It already knows if they qualify for a matching gift just by the donor entering their employer name on your GiveButter form. This then allows the tool to provide a matching gift next step directly on the GiveButter confirmation page, so your donor could kick off the matching gift process immediately after submitting their donation. Like I said, too, 360 Match Pro automates matching gift follow ups that also include direct links for your donors to submit their matching gift request. So, say you have a donor that works for the Home Depot, they enter that on their donation form, then their confirmation page and matching gift email would have a direct link to the Home Depot's online matching gift request form. And 360 Match Pro also tags and tracks matching gift information for both individual donors and aggregated donor data within your 360 Match Pro portal. So, for example, say you want to know what's the company that most of your donors work for, you could find that information in your 360 Match Pro dashboard. And so we have a quick video snippet on the next slide of just kind of going through the process of how this would work on a GiveButter donation form. In this slide deck as well, there's also a linked full-length video demo of me just sharing how the 360 Match Pro integration works. So that will be sent out after the presentation if you're interested in seeing a live demo of it in action. And so that's really everything for the 360 Match Pro and Match and Gift portion of this presentation. I'm going to kick it back over to Floyd, who I believe has a poll that he wants to ask you guys.
Such a good question. Yes, before we get to the poll, I wanted to just ask you a couple questions, and we actually have some great questions here in the chat. But you talked a lot about, having your matching gift program be a part of an overarching corporate strategy, which is so incredibly important. And I want to make sure that everyone understands that it's so easy sometimes to say, okay, we're going to go after matching gifts. We're going to do, maybe a corporate sponsorship. But no, how do you think about your corporate outreach strategy as a whole? And having matching gifts being a part of that is absolutely essential. So, a couple of questions that I had that I wanted to chat with you about is, who have you seen succeed in a matching gift program? Like, what kinds of nonprofits have you seen over time succeed in programs like this versus which ones kind of fall short by the wayside?
Absolutely. I think that we've had success stories with nonprofits in all different industries and really of all different sizes. I think the kind of distinguishing factor that we see for these organizations who are successful is actually, turning on the matching gift emails, including matching gifts in their fundraising appeals and maybe their newsletter or on their website. So I think it's kind of less about what types of organizations are able to succeed with matching gifts and more about what strategies, you need to take to see success, and that would really involve educating donors. That's the number one roadblock we see is donors just not knowing that they have matching gift opportunities, and so they're certainly not submitting their matching gift requests.
I love that. I love that. You see, y'all, this is so why it's so important. Education is key. And one of the things I keep thinking about is that there are open doors everywhere. There are opportunities to get new donors everywhere. But if we don't actually seize the opportunities, if we don't actually walk through those doors, they're always going to remain shut. So, education, having a plan, all of these things are absolutely essential. Another question that two more questions. What is the best way to start a matching gift strategy?
Absolutely. I think first seeing what opportunities you have is definitely where I would start. So, gathering employer information about your donors, and whether that's including the search field that I mentioned on the donation form, sending some kind of email asking your regular donors to let you know where they work, maybe doing a LinkedIn search of your top donors, seeing these opportunities can really structure your kind of next steps. Because say you have, a ton of big donors that qualify for matching gift programs versus maybe it's all of your recurring but smaller gift donors. Those are kind of going to be different communication strategies. They're just depending on where that segment lies. And so I would say the first step would definitely be finding employer information for your donors, seeing the opportunity.
100%. You see, y'all, she just talked about donor segmentation. You see what we talked about? Use track, use the notes, feature in our CRM, but then also we give you the ability to do more donor segmentation. So if you want to be able to filter in GiveButter track and see, okay, hey, here are my lower level donors, all my donors who've donated under, $20 or $50, whatever lower tier is for your organization. You can actually filter that way. And maybe those people are getting an email or, you're using our text message feature. But then if you see who are my bigger level donors or who are my higher level donors, those people you can give an actual phone call. You can schedule an actual in-person meeting and see how do we build a bigger corporate strategy around that. One of the things that I used to do was I actually built out my different boards. So I built out regional boards, I built out junior boards. And one of the things I did was, okay, how many of people in my junior level are at this specific company? And then I was able to have a meeting with all of those people and build a strategy from there. And then from there, we opened up the door for lunch and learns. That opened up the door for actual engagement opportunity on the field. So it really goes back to know thy donor. That's what I always talk about. That's what I always reinforce, know thy donor. We have some really great questions from the community. So Calethea says, I may have missed this piece, but do most corporate matching gift programs apply to just payroll/employee giving programs? Or will they match any gift made outside of the workplace by an employee, such as through GiveButter? Such a great question.
Yeah. So for the matching gift programs that I was specifically referring to, those are typically going to be either current full time employees, sometimes part time employees, sometimes retired employees, or spouses of employees. So for those, it's not necessarily, the ones that are on payroll actively, but some kind of relationship to the organization, whether that's full time employment, retiree, something like that. There are certainly programs where companies will, match general donations. Like you see those all the time around maybe Giving Tuesday or something like that, or some other, corporate philanthropy event that some kind of company is hosting. But for the typical like year-round matching gift programs that I was kind of referring to with the stats here, those are going to be for donors who have some sort of relationship with the corporation.
Great point. See that as Julia mentioned, there are many different angles to kind of approach, matching gifts. I've seen organizations do it retroactively. So sometimes they're saying, "Hey, I made $100 donation. Can you match this?" For the double the donation integration specifically, it comes through the platform. But there are a lot of different people, so I would definitely encourage you to understand the kind of companies that you're approaching and whatnot, and see how the gift can kind of fit within that system and that segment. Another attendee says, is Double the Donation specifically set up to help corporate companies administer and manage their employee matching program? So I guess this is more asking on the corporation side.
Yeah, that's a great question, and we get that a lot. So, no, we specifically work with nonprofits to help them reach their donors, educate donors about matching gift opportunities, and empower them to submit their request and then track that info. There certainly are like CSR platforms that work with the corporations to help them set up their matching gift program and help, the corporations determine those parameters I mentioned or set up a submission process, but that's not us. We work with the fundraisers to help them earn matching gift revenue.
I love that. And then another question that I just saw come in, what should we do if corporate partners aren't answering emails about partnering? Well, I guess that's probably a question that I can answer. So if your corporate partners aren't answering your emails, one, keep trying because they're most likely busy. They're, at a big company and probably are soliciting, a lot of different requests. But then two, I would also see what other avenues can you utilize to get to that person. One of the things that I've seen a lot of times, if you really want something and what everyone knows, if you really want something and you ask one person for it, if they say no, don't let no be the only answer. Go to another person, go to an employee that works at the company. Go to somebody else who's in another department. Go to somebody else who is connected to that company. There are so many different ways to achieve what you want to achieve. You just got to keep knocking. You got to keep on pressing in and keep focusing on what you want to do. I always say it's not a no. It's not a no until it's an absolute no. You know what I mean? So and especially if you don't hear from the person. If you don't hear from the person, then it's definitely not a no. It is maybe they didn't hear from you. Maybe they're busy. There's so many different reasons. So I would say try to find another avenue to get to where you want to be, because there's a lot of different ways to make that happen. Well, Julia, I so appreciate you, and I so appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. This was some really, really helpful insight. Y'all, was this helpful? Can y'all let me know in the chat if this was helpful? Did y'all appreciate all the different insight you got from Julia, you got from me, you got from the Get Better team? Trisha says yes. I love that. I love that. I love that. So many yeses, Julia. So many people thought it was so incredibly insightful. So I really want to say thank you so much on behalf of Get Better and our community. Thank you for being here and sharing the insight with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was great to be here and share this with you guys.
Absolutely. So, y'all, we're not done yet. We got one more poll to go through. I want to hear from each and every one of you. So let's pull up this poll, okay? I want to know, after today's session, okay, how are you going to get started on cracking the corporate code? Okay, how are you going to get started on cracking the corporate code? Are you going to create your corporate partner wish list? Are you going to send impact reports to existing corporate partners? Are you going to start updating donors' profiles in the CRM with notes and tags? Maybe you're going to add 360 Match Pro integration to your Give Better donation form, or maybe you'll create a landing page on your website about matching gift opportunities. I want to hear from y'all. How are you going to start cracking the corporate code today? Let me see it. Let me see what y'all got. Okay, 30 more seconds. How are y'all going to start cracking the code? All right, let's see what we got. Oh, I love this. It's a even split between creating corporate partner wish lists and creating a landing page on your website about matching gift opportunities. And I love that. It sees that you all are understanding that the best place to start is inside. The best place. How are you going to win if you ain't right within? That's what my sister Lauren Hale says, okay? So making sure that you have your house in order before you go out and invite other people in. I love that. And I hope that today helped you guys to get some ideas to push your corporate strategy forward. All right, y'all. So I want to end today's session with a few important reminders, okay? One, register for our upcoming webinars. I am so excited. Obviously, I mentioned next week we have Give Butter's deep dive, and it's all going to be about Give Butter integrations and, of course, the brand new Give Butter elements. Super exciting. Fill out our webinar feedback survey. I always love to hear from you all. I promise you guys, we read every single comment, okay? We love to know. I know y'all like my dancing, so trust me, we're gonna bring that back soon. But I really want to understand and see what is working, what topics are engaging with you all and your community. How are things going for you and how are these helping you? Let us know. And we always like to hear from you on what enhancements you want to see on our platform. So make sure that you're checking out the Give Better roadmap. It's directly on our website. You can actually upvote features. You can let us know what features you want to see. Make sure you go to our website and put those in there. And then, of course, join the Give Better Facebook fam. You know it's all going down on Facebook, okay? So make sure you join the Give Better Facebook fam. And one other thing I wanted to mention, I am so excited for next month's webinar. You guys, you do not want to miss this. I am telling you, you heard it here first. Make sure you mark your calendars. Make sure you tell all the King's horses and all the King's men, like tell them all, okay? This is the webinar you need to be at. We are going to be talking with the one and only Mallory Erickson, and we're going to do a deep dive of what donors want, okay? We're going to hear insights from foundation leaders. We're going to hear insights from other corporate partners. We're going to hear insights from major gift donors. You want to hear directly from the people what donors want and how to create moments that matter so that you can raise more funds, okay? All right, y'all. I so appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much for joining us for Cracking the Corporate Code. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your week. And until we meet next time, continue to shine. Be blessed, y'all. Thank you.
You turned this from an idea in a dorm room into the #1 rated fundraising platform on the internet.
You raised over $100 million for charitable causes just in the last year.
You are making the world a better place, one gift at a time.